Hello everyone, Flick here, welcome back to another Batman miniature game battle report. 350 rep of a Brave and the Bold team versus a Militia team, mostly to show off a certain free agent, see how he acts, and also to try out two lists that were both pretty heavy on equipment. Also, same board as last time, with one addition. The smoke plume over here has been replaced by a watchtower. It's some of that laser cut cardboard scenery. It's starting to get really good quality, honestly. It's kind of flimsy at first, but now we're getting this kind of thing, and I think it looks pretty good. So, that is now one building present at the very least, but for the most part it's still a flat battlefield, which does kind of change the method of play. We'll see if the watchtower makes any difference, but first let's go over the teams. So hopefully this is mostly in focus. I noticed last time that this camera does have an awful problem with zooming into every model at the same time. But this is the Brave and the Bold list, being led by Oliver Queen, Green Arrow. His sidekick this time is going to be Nightwing, not the Arkham Asylum / Night / City, whatever version, because that hasn't been updated yet. And then for henchmen, he has John Diggle, of course. He has the Arkham Guard with the riot shotgun and the baton. And then he has Alfred, but it's the Michael Caine Alfred from the Dark Knight Rises. It was the pre-order bonus for that starter set. So as we said, there's a lot of equipment going around here because Alfred gives you a bunch of extra spending money. Basically means funding-wise, John is free. So if you just allow me to find my list. So Green Arrow has tactical gloves, which gives him the 2 stun on physical attacks. Nightwing has Runner, which gives him Tireless. John is just kitted out. Spare magazine, handcuffs, grapple gun, the medic roll so you can heal people, and both Arkham guards have whistles to slow down the enemy. So that is a lot of funding. I think it comes to 1500 on the dot, because as I say, Alfred's extra cash kind of, it's 350, which is how much funding John costs. So yeah, that's the team, and their objectives at the back here. Titan Container, Wayne Tech, and Ammo. So here's the 350 rep of Militia that the Brave and the Bold are going up against, led by the Arkham Knight Scarecrow, but mostly we're here to see the free agent, the Batman who laughs, who will hopefully be a pretty tough person on the battlefield. And as far as the Militia brought, the Medic, the Protective Shield wielding one, the Lieutenant one at the back there, and the Cybernetic Brute. In terms of funding, Scarecrow has a fear gas dispenser and a secret lab, which means he can do his fear gas from 2 of his henchmen. They're going to be the Lieutenant and the Cybernetic Brute. The Cybernetic Brute also has a Titan Dose, a camo vest, and a gas mask, so he is kitted out. And objective-wise at the back there, we have Medicine, we have the Militia drone, the Lieutenant will be controlling. Actually no, it was the Medic. The Medic is controlling the drone this time, and Contraband. So we're going to place sewer markers, etc., see what the mission is, and we'll be back at deployment. So D6 decided what scenario we're going to be playing, and it's 4 Skirmish, which is the one that offers bonus victory points if you manage to KO or casualty the boss by the end of the game. And also teach them a lesson, which is you have to do at least 50% of the crew's worth of rep to get some bonus victory points. The Militia have deployed over here. We've got the Batman who laughs with the Medic and the shield using Militia member next to a lamppost and a drain. Got another sewer drain there, and light. It's not really a drain, it's a, the sewer marker, whatever. Scarecrow's over here, lamp and sewer right behind the Batmobile. The drone is here, and it'll be moving, remember. The Wayne Tech is here. Ammo is down here. Over here we have the Titan and the Contraband. I can't remember if I pointed out that the medical supplies rather are hidden there. And over here we have the Brave and the Bold deployment, pretty much in a line with Oliver up on the crate there, John right next to a lamp. So that's as things stand here. All that matters now is who's going to get first activation in Battle Round 1. We've got the new Batman logo markers from the Dark Knight Rises starter set, so Batman logo for Brave and the Bold, and I think it was pink for Militia. Yes it was, because they are getting first activation in Battle Round 1. So to get us started with Battle Round 1, the Militia Medic activated. He used his scalpel to strategically destroy the lamppost that was next to him and the other 2 models here. The lamp is destroyed, plunging them into darkness. He then moved. He did not move up to the medical. He is hiding behind there with one spare counter, which will mean that the drone can move a couple of extra inches at the end of the battle round. But that was to get things started. Oh, forgot to mention that both crews have the same number of models, so there'll be no passes until there's casualties. So let's see what the Brave and the Bold do. Somewhat mimicking the Militia, the first activation for the Brave and the Bold was John Diggle. He smacked the lamp. Well, he didn't smack it, he used his taser, but still. He destroyed the lamppost that he started next to. He then used the grapple gun that was bought for him with the funding on offer and grappled and moved himself all the way over to claim the ammo for the Brave and the Bold. The Militia member with the shield, otherwise known as Militia Member 2, activated next and moved up in order to claim the medical for the Militia side, so that's kind of counteracting John grabbing the ammo for the Brave and the Bold, keeping things nice and even. As we do the usual turn 1 style, which is just posturing until the true fighting begins on Battle Round 2. Alfred Pennyworth activated next for the Brave and the Bold, and he cleared some distance in order to get into contact with the Titan container objective for that side. He didn't activate it though, which is a bit of a shame, because you can imagine Alfred Pennyworth, Michael Caine, just going around hopped up on Titan. That'd be hilarious. Next time, maybe next time. At least for now though, he is claiming it. A couple of quick activations because it just involved shuffling position really. Scarecrow, who was hiding behind these boulders here, has moved up to the sewer grating in the middle of the road. He did not go in it though, he's just standing next to it, just out of range of that illumination from the lamp as well. So the Brave and the Bold activated the Arkham Guard with the riot shotgun. He was just kind of over there. He ran his full distance, kind of exposed there, although there's not really, I think the Batman Who Laughs is the only gun on the opposing side, so they don't have to worry too much about getting into cover and crouching for better pings. So he's moving towards the Wayne Tech, but he didn't manage to make it there. Another quick couple of shuffling activations next. The Cybernetic Brute moved up on the cars there, so he was there. He shuffled up over here. And then the other Arkham Guard, this one with the baton, he just moved his full distance from over there by the Wayne crate, heading towards the contraband, but couldn't clear the distance in order to claim it. So for the Militia side, we've still got the Lieutenant and the Batman Who Laughs to activate, and then it's Nightwing and Green Arrow for the Brave and the Bold. Next activation for the Militia was the Lieutenant, who has moved up and controlled the Wayne Tech. Wayne Tech is one where it's 2 victory points to the player who controls it, not the owner. He wasn't able to use it though, so he's not going to get any equipment by the end of the battle round, but he is going to get some more points for the Militia side. Oliver activated next and grappled down from where he was standing. Luckily he has 3 special, because he needed 1 to be used in conjunction with the movement counter to use the grapple. Then he used 1 special for, what is it, it's rapid fire, and 1 special on whichever the other one is that lets him move and fire a weapon that has aim. So yeah, 1 lets him move and fire a weapon with aim, 1 improves his rate of fire by 1. So he shot 2 arrows into the Lieutenant, only 1 hit though, for 2 blood. So we actually saw some blood damage in turn 1, amazingly. So now all that's left is the Batman Who Laughs for the Militia, and then finally Nightwing to cap off Battle Round 1. So for the final 2 activations of Battle Round 1, the Batman Who Laughs opted to travel via sewer all the way over there. Perhaps in response, Nightwing activated finally. He grappled all the way over here. He has fantastic movement because he has a grapple, he's an acrobat, etc. And 4 movement counter is maximum. He moved into contact and also used the contraband. Perhaps he's being a little bit overzealous. Dick might be in over his head here if he thinks he can successfully take on the Batman Who Laughs, but who knows? We don't know yet. So that's how Battle Round 1 is closing. Now it's time for the recap to work out the points. So at the end of Battle Round 1, we've got a few things to cover victory points wise. The Militia hold their own medical supply for 3 victory points. They hold the enemy's contraband, even though they didn't activate it to get some gear. They got 2 victory points for that. The drone has also moved 4+1 to be over there next to Green Arrow and one of the Arkham Guards. The Brave and the Bold have the enemy's contraband. Nightwing got a 6 on the result, which is a I'm rich, and got 3 victory points for that, putting them well out in front once you add on the 2 victory points for the Titan container, and then 3 for their ammo, which John is holding back there. Well, I say way out in front, it's not really. I think it's, what is it? It's, they're ahead by 3. The 3 from the contraband, essentially. Now we're ready to see things really take off. There was only 2 blood damage, no stun damage, Battle Round 1. That's definitely going to change in Battle Round 2. So we're going to come over to the bag here and see. It's more likely to be the Brave and the Bold going first, which is what they want, for sure. And it is indeed the Brave and the Bold, get the logo around the right way, who will be going first in Battle Round 2. Let's see what happens. So to start Battle Round 2, Nightwing activated. It's a shame this battle is happening over at the end of the table. It's awkward to film, but obviously he charged the Batman Who Laughs 6 attacks, well 4 and then 2 extra because he has combo with his sticks. Only managed to get 2 stun through in the end. The Batman Who Laughs is defense 5, so even with mechanical and handy, he rolled quite poorly on his handy rerolls. He got 2 1s. So only 2 stun through against the Batman Who Laughs. Kind of tried to block him a little bit towards the poor old Arkham Guard there. We'll see if that matters as we move on. Next to activate was the Cybernetic Brute for the Militia. He started around here, he walked around here, and thanks to his weapons having reach, he was able to make contact with John, and as you can see he is knocked out. Even with the Kevlar vest taking away the first bit of damage, 8 stun in total was done. It got reduced to 7. John has 7 endurance, so although all the bar is, there's no blood, the build-up has knocked him out, so that is a henchman KO for the Militia. Guard 3 activated next with Brave and the Bold, but quick correction first of all. The Cybernetic Brute has a gas mask, so there was no point buying him a gas mask. So we're just counting it that the medic has the gas mask because the model clearly has one, but he doesn't have the role, so he's got it, not that it will probably end up mattering. Anyway, so the Arkham Guard, he shot first from where he was standing with his riot shotgun at the Lieutenant. Sadly, just whiffed entirely. And then he moved into contact just to contest the contraband because there was nothing else he could do. A couple of activations to cover now the shield-wielding mercenary militia member. I mean, moved up to the contraband. Alfred went next for the Brave and the Bold, and he's opting just to stand still because he's not much of a fighter. So he's just holding the Titan, didn't even try and contest the contraband there. So it's back over to the militia now. The medic activated next for the militia and moved into position to claim the medical supplies. He activated it, so he has a neurotropic drug use if he wishes to use it. Whether he does or not, we'll see in the future, but he's now claiming that, and it's probably going to be uncontested for at least this battle round. So the Arkham Guard with the extendable baton went next. He had a choice of whether or not to go back up Nightwing or contest the contraband. He didn't like his chances much over there in that combat, so instead he went to the contraband, as you can see. He took a couple of swings with his club at the shield militia member and did nothing, but at least he's contesting it. So in return, just to get a very quick activation for the militia out of the way, this lieutenant is just activating and crouching. We thought that his clubs or whatever it is that he uses again had reach. They don't, so he can't actually hit the Arkham Guard on the other side of it, so he's just activating and contesting because he doesn't want to give away points by moving away. So now it's back over to the Brave and the Bold, and the Brave and the Bold just has Green Arrow thanks to John being unconscious, and then it's back to the militia for Scarecrow and the Batman Who Laughs. Let's see what happens. So to end off Battle Round 2 for the Brave and the Bold anyway, Green Arrow activated. He stood still, but he used his one special point that ups his rate of fire by 1. He fired his arrows, 2 of 3 maximum shots with that particular arrow type, into the Lieutenant. Did 4 blood, 1 stun, but the Lieutenant already had 2 blood on his card. He has 6 HP, so he is a casualty, so that's 2 victory points, 1 for being KO'd, 1 for being made a casualty on a henchman. Also means the Wayne Tech is no longer contested. But we have 2 more militia models to go and nothing to interrupt them. Let's see how Battle Round 2 ends. So to end up Battle Round 2, the Batman Who Laughs unleashed 5 attacks into Nightwing, and Nightwing is one of the luckiest people alive. Of those 5 attacks, 2 were negated by defense dice, and then the hit rolls needed 3 pluses. There's the roll there. So 1 stun got through to Nightwing, so he got exceptionally lucky there. Whether or not he's going to be lucky enough on the next turn, I guess we'll see. Scarecrow for the final activation did not opt to take a Surge rating. He instead just moved around the corner there. He can't be seen currently, but he's obviously beelining for the contraband there. So we'll be back with the recovery and recap. So here's as things stand at the end of Battle Round 2. The militia scored 3 victory points for the medical. They scored 2 victory points for... no, sorry, just 1 for John being made knocked out. And that was it for them, because the contraband is contested. For the Brave and the Bold, they got 2 for the Titan, 2 for the Wayne Tech, because it's no longer occupied, and 2 for knockout plus casualty of a henchman. No one is claiming the ammo. Even if the Cybernetic Brute was in base to base, it wouldn't have made a difference because it's not theirs. As far as recoveries go, Nightwing recovered the 1 stun he took. The Batman Who Laughs recovered 1 of the 2 stun he had. And John woke up. which is very handy. Hopefully the Brave and the Bold will get first activation, because they kind of really need it. Let's see. Oh. Yes, Brave and the Bold is getting first activation in Battle Round 3. So to start this battle round, John got up off his feet having just regained consciousness. He fired his taser at the cybernetic brute and did nothing. He then retreated from trying to claim the ammo out of sight round the corner to force the cybernetic brute to chase him, because that's much bigger than 2 inches, so he can't use reach if he wants to knock him out once again. Let's see what the militia do in return. The Batman Who Laughs activated next, and this was a bit more like it. He swung out a Nightwing with his cannibalistic gaggle of robins and did 2 blood, 2 stun to the former Boy Wonder, wounding him pretty heavily, and they're still locked in combat, but Nightwing is definitely now losing this encounter. The baton-wielding Arkham Guard activated next, and he took some more swings at the shield and baton-wielding militia member, was not able to get any hits through at all, opted to stay there just to continue contesting the contraband, but nothing achieved there. That was a stalemate. Got a few quick activations to cover now. It's kind of like the equivalent of doing a pass if you don't have passes. First of all, the shield-wielding militia man struck back at the Arkham Guard to try and get revenge, achieved about as much as he did and did nothing. Then I went back over to the Brave and the Bold. Alfred's just sitting tight on the Titan container. He has a Titan dose, he hasn't used it. He's an old man, leave him alone. Back over to the militia. They opted to activate the medic, and he's just standing next to the medicine claiming that. So the Brave and the Bold is back over to them now, and all they have left are the other Arkham Guard, Green Arrow and Nightwing. Let's see what happens. Nightwing activated next, and he's still definitely coming off the worst out of this confrontation here. He only was able to do 2 more stun, coupled onto the one that the Batman Who Laughs had left over. He has 9 endurance, by the way. He's very, very tough. So he is at risk now of falling in the next battle round. He opted to stay there though. It looks like it's going to the finish. The cybernetic brute activated next for the militia. He followed John around the side of the police tow truck there, unleashed his attacks, did 4 more stun, knocking John out once again. That doesn't award any new victory points because he's not a casualty and he's been knocked out before, but it does at least take someone out that doesn't have a fantastic chance of waking up to endurance tests in a row. So back over to the Brave and the Bold now. Oliver activated next and used his once per game multi-shot arrow with rate of fire +1 from spending a special. He shot them, just riddled the cybernetic brute with arrows, did 6 blood. The cybernetic brute has 7 endurance, so he is alive with 1 endurance remaining. He was clearly trying to avenge John there. Wasn't quite able to finish the job though. So got a final couple of activations to cover for battle round 3. Scarecrow moved around the corner here and inspired fear in the Arkham Guard there. You've got to do a willpower roll, which is on 2 dice, roll equal to or under than your willpower. He has 4 willpower. He rolled 2 2s, so he did not take any adverse effects. Scarecrow is contesting the Wayne Tech, however, so it's not going to award any victory points to anyone. Anyway, final activation was the Arkham Guard himself. Given that it's more likely that the militia will get first turn next activation, he stood still to keep contesting, turned though and shot his riot shotgun into the cybernetic brute, doing 2 stun, meaning he is knocked out for a henchman KO victory point, and he is much less of an issue, hopefully, going into the next round. Let's see what happens though once we do some recovery and recap. So here's how things stand at the end of battle round 3. The Batman Who Laughs regened 1 stun, Nightwing did not. Both John Diggle and the cybernetic brute did not wake up either. In terms of victory points claimed, the militia have the medical, but the contraband is contested. No one's claiming the ammo, no one is claiming the Wayne Tech is contested as well, so the Brave and the Bold only got 2 victory points for holding the Titan. Also though, they got 1 bonus for knocking out the cybernetic brute, which kind of balances it out as 3 victory points gained for each side. Now let's see, as we go into battle round 4, who is getting next activation. First activation, battle round 4 will be the Brave and the Bold again. They should use this to their advantage, because that guarantees that for the final 2 turns of the game, the militia get first activation. So to start this battle round, Nightwing activated, and perhaps deciding finally that discretion is the better part of valor, used his combo with his sticks and did an amazing 6 stun to the Batman Who Laughs, leaving him on 1 endurance, and then backed off rather than face immediate retaliation. He's an acrobat, so he can jump over models, and he only had 1 point in movement, because he is wounded. but he managed to make it this far thanks to the acrobat bonus as well, to the left of Alfred. Not necessarily out of danger, but at least forcing the Batman Who Laughs to move if he wants to chase Nightwing. Didn't want to give up the victory points for a KO or casualty of a sidekick, because it's quite a lot, I think. So opted to do that, did some good damage on the way out as well. Oliver might be able to finish him off, we'll see. The Batman Who Laughs activated next and moved into contact with the Contraband and unleashed his fury on the Arkham Guard there instead of Nightwing, because he couldn't chase him that far. He had nothing in movement and didn't want anything in movement. He wanted to go for the casualty, because if he gets a casualty he can heal, because he has the cannibal rule. He didn't quite get the casualty. He did get a knockout though with 3 stun, 2 blood. The Arkham Guard has 5 endurance. So he's knocked out, so that's a victory point for knocking a henchman out, and now the Contraband is obviously going to give points as well if manipulated at the end of the turn. Assuming there's no contesting, I guess. Anyway, moving on to the Brave and the Bold. Green Arrow activated next and shot his final arrow, so he's completely out of ammo currently. And he shot it at the Batman Who Laughs, hit, did 2 blood, which was enough to take him over his maximum, resulting in a knockout of a free agent for 3 victory points. That's really, really good. He's not dead though, because most of his damage was accumulated stun, so he does definitely have the chance to get up. There's obviously a medic present who might be able to get to him. Oliver then used his movement in order to get into contact with the ammo. He did not use it this turn, he didn't have enough to use it as well, but he is at least holding it. So, back over to the Militia now. Scarecrow activated and hopped over the Wayne Tech. First of all, he used Inspire Fear on the Arkham Guard, did Scared and Terror 1, so that's affecting his chance to hit, and less action counters next activation. He then used his Fear Syringe in close combat, only did 1 blood to him though, so the Wayne Tech is still contested and both of them are on their feet. Never seen so many knocked out models on the field at any one time, actually, now I think about it. There's 4 knocked out models on the field. Over to Brave and the Bold again, who just have this Arkham Guard here who has no ammunition left to go. And I think that's it. Need to double check. I forgot whether or not we covered that the medic this turn is just opting to stay put on the medicine for his victory points, and Alfred is staying on the Titan container for those victory points. So if we didn't cover those activations, they just got thrown in the bunch because they don't want to move. The shield op was going to move originally, but with the Batman Who Laughs being knocked out and no longer holding the Contraband, he used it instead. And that's about it, other than the Arkham Guard over here just throwing his fisticuffs because his gun's out of ammo, managed to do 1 stun to Scarecrow. And that took us to the end of the battle round, so now on to recovery and the recapping of the points. So a lot to cover at the end of that battle round. First of all, as far as recoveries go, no stuns were recovered. The Batman Who Laughs did not wake up, he rolled 2 6s for his attempt at waking up. The Arkham Guard next to him did wake up. John Diggle woke up for the 2nd time this match, and the Cybernetic Brute did not. So that was exceptionally lucky for the Brave and the Bold, which is just as well, because as we already know, whereas the bag of markers has vanished. We know for a fact though that the Militia is getting first activation in battle round 5, so let's just get to that. Wait, didn't cover victory points. Forgot about that. Real quick. 3 for medical. The Contraband gave 2 this turn. Brave and the Bold got 2 for the Titan. The Wayne Tech is obviously contested. Oh, Scarecrow landed a hit, and he was within range of that drone. That's a bonus victory point that we didn't count. So that's another bonus victory point for the Militia right there. And the Brave and the Bold got 3 for Oliver, uncontested, holding the ammo over there. Alright, I think I covered everything this time. Let's move on. So to open the penultimate turn of this battle report, Scarecrow inspired Fear in the Arkham Guard again. This time he failed it by, I think it was by 7 or something, which gave him Terror 3, so he had to lose 3 of his counters, leaving him with only 1, which he put into defense. Well, he had 1 in defense, that's the one he opted to keep. He can't attack this turn, he can't do anything, really. Scarecrow swung at him again with his needles and did 1 blood to him. Not super fantastic, but keep in mind, in general, this Scarecrow is meant to be a sidekick to the Arkham Knight, more so than a leader himself, but he's cheap. The other Scarecrow is definitely more effective, but also more expensive. So that's how the round is opening. Over to the Brave and the Bold. Nightwing activated next and moved down towards the medical. He didn't have quite enough, because keep in mind he is wounded. He didn't have quite enough movement to get into contesting range. He threw his wingdings, though, at the medic, and they failed to wound. So unfortunately he did nothing there. Actually, come to think of it, does stun-related throwing weapons apply the just a scratch rule? Double check that for next time. Also, a quick amendment as well. When Scarecrow landed the hit on the Arkham guard there, that means the drone gave him a bonus victory point. So just covering that while we're remembering. Double check that for the next activation as we go back over to the Militia. We move on to the next activation for the Militia. Double check that it does appear, even if it's a ranged attack that only does stun damage and it's not a bullet, the just a scratch roll seems to apply, because it's just if a ranged attack fails the wound roll. Both hit rolls for the wingdings succeeded, it was only on the wound rolls they failed. So as far as I can tell, that's 2 stun to the medic. We're not 100% sure though, so by all means chip in if you know for sure one way or the other. It seems like we've applied that correctly, but do let us know otherwise. Anyway, the shield using Militia Man, he knows that the Arkham Guard there is awake, but he can only do like 1 blood to him and that isn't enough to kill him, and the Contraband gives randomized victory points. So he opted instead to contest the Titan container. He attacked an old man and swung for 2 stun against Alfred. So we're just going to cover the rest of the activations for Battle Round 5 here, as they were all pretty brief, more or less. Alfred took some swings at the shield-wielding militia member, wasn't able to do anything. This Arkham Guard stood up and activated the Contraband. The medic, you're not allowed to use the medic rule on yourself. It has to be on a different model, so he can't heal himself, he has no range and he doesn't want to willingly contest the medicine, so he's just going to stay hiding behind it. John stood up. He did want to arrest the cybernetic brute, however he needed to spend a counter of one kind to stand up, so he's grabbed the ammo but he was unable to arrest. That left Oliver and he moved into contact with Scarecrow. Scarecrow had some defense dice that he didn't need to use because this Arkham Guard lost his ability to do anything this turn, so Scarecrow defended and no punches got through. Now it's on to recovery and recap. At the end of the penultimate battle round, Nightwing did not recover a stun, neither did the medic. John did, however, and who else did? Alfred did. The Batman Who Laughs did wake up, the cybernetic brute did not, so he's essentially down and out for the rest of the game. Other victory points, the Militia got 1 for the drone being present when Scarecrow attacked the Arkham Guard, and 3 for the medicine. The Contraband gave the Brave and the Bold 2 victory points this turn, and they had 3 for John holding the ammo, but the Titan was contested, the Wayne Tech was contested. So we know the Militia are getting first activation in the final battle round. There's the icon, just to prove. Let's go into the final turn. So to open the final battle round, the Batman Who Laughs stood up. He is heavily wounded, but was still able to unleash some damage on the Arkham Guard he was standing next to. Did 1 blood, 1 stun for 1 attack getting through, plus a knockdown on the collateral die matching. So the Arkham Guard is knocked down, but he's not dead, he's on 1 endurance remaining. So he will be able to act, but there's not really too much he can do. But at least that probably means the Contraband is going to give nobody any points rather than one side over the other. Nightwing activated next, and rather than continue his vendetta against the Batman Who Laughs, opted to charge the medic and did 5 stun, resulting in a knockout. So that's not a casualty but a knockout for a bonus victory point. And obviously the 3 for the medical is not going to be given to anybody because it can only be given to the Militia, there's no one claiming it. That seemed like the best bet rather than risking taking on the Batman Who Laughs, and again he's already been knocked out once, so he wouldn't give any more victory points for that. So that was a strategic choice that I think will pay off. A couple of quick activations over here, both leaders have activated. Scarecrow activated first, he attacked Green Arrow first by trying to inspire fear, which failed, then with the Sphere Syringe, which also missed. Green Arrow activated, just using his reinforced gloves, did 3 stun and a knockdown on Scarecrow, but Scarecrow is still conscious and contesting the Wayne Tech there. Doesn't seem likely either leader is going to go down here. So we're just going to cover the final few activations of the game here, just get them out of the way because the battle's pretty much been decided at this point. John arrested the cybernetic brute because he has the cuffs that we bought with funding, and then just stayed next to the ammo to contest it, or sorry, claim it rather. Let's see, over here Alfred and the Militia member swung at each other to no effect on either of them, and then this Arkham Guard just stood up. He did not opt to use the Contraband because of limitations in his... I don't think he had enough counters after standing up because he had... No, actually no, he could have used that. No, he didn't have 1, forgot to put 1 in movement to manipulate it. That's what it was. That was just a mistake. But either way. So, that brings us to the end of the game. Let's do the final recap and then the final scores. So as we close off another fun game of the Batman Battle Report, the pontificating about the Contraband, it didn't matter because the Batman Who Laughs is still alive, so it was contested either way. As far as victory points gained in that final turn, the Militia scored nothing in that final battle round. They did negate some points for the Brave and the Bold, but that's it. Speaking of them, they obviously got a KO down here. Nightwing managed to get that, and John held the ammo. The Titan was contested, the Wayne Tech was contested because the Scarecrow's just knocked down, not knocked out, and the Contraband was contested. So the final scores stand at 35 for the Brave and the Bold, plays 23 for the Militia. It's unfortunate that the Batman Who Laughs didn't get a true chance to shine, which is just devouring henchmen most of the time, because Nightwing was able to hold his own surprisingly well. It looked bad, but he knew when to get out, and it was probably for the best that he did. But yeah, we'll definitely see the Batman Who Laughs again. That's a very fun model, fun rules, fun story. Gotta see him again. Maybe not going after a sidekick who held his own surprisingly well. He is tough though, like most Batmen have 8 endurance, he's got 9. And if he actually kills a model, he heals for 2. He came close to getting that heal twice and just got really unlucky. The Militia in general had a lot of unlucky endurance rolls, whereas the Brave and the Bold had fantastic endurance rolls to wake up, or sorry, willpower rolls, whichever. For John to wake up twice, for the Arkham Guard to wake up, like, it wouldn't have made a difference to the final result, but we pontificated as well about whether, had that Arkham Guard died and that was uncontested, what would the result have been on the final turn? It would have been an extra 3 victory points. Still wouldn't have swung it, but you know, little things like that added up. So the Brave and the Bold got lucky, I feel. The Militia team, maybe not the best mix for the Batman Who Laughs, and that Scarecrow is pretty weak as well, unfortunately. Anyway, I sincerely hope you enjoyed. There will be more battle reports to come in the future. Thank you for watching, and ta-ta for now.